Why did I snap? Because it's Conquest, so we always snap? Yeah, that sounds right. It'll be fine. Nobody panic. On the table concerning second dinner making money, it only includes mobile revenue, isn't it? It does not include their website or other things. Correct. It's in fact, those tables I keep referencing where second dinner made $12 million a quarter for the last 2 quarters are just US mobile revenue. They're not even global mobile revenue. It's just US mobile revenue. So they are making way more likely than 12 billion a quarter. Hey, look! Iceman means I can brood this turn. This? I think it's this. I think I'm staying too. Are they gonna magic me in the middle? They might be magicking me in the middle. Yeah, damn. Probably lose now. Blue Marble is exactly what I wanted for Christmas. It does not include web shop purchases, that is accurate. Losing Cerebro here hurts. Losing Cerebro means that I can only Mystique Blue Marble. And I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to pass to be able in order to do it. Or I could just take the rug and rip it right out from underneath them, yes? Yeah, fuck, Buttercup. Nico knew, Chad. She knew. She knew it was fine. Nobody panic. She would never do us dirty. She just wanted a good old-fashioned butt clench for everybody at home. Coolly and calmly calculated by Nico Minaru. Wasn't even close. Had him the whole time. Close. It could be right to beast this back, honestly. Crimson Cosmos is pretty bad for us. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this one. Also not great, believe it or not. Sinister Sinister variant from probably a bundle at some point. Oh, is it just a shop one? And 700 gold? What? How did a pleb Sinister variant make it into my collection? That ain't right. Has a good piece of art, though. That's probably how it made it in there. I need to complain to Brood. The artwork in this game needs to be pay to win more. This beats Red Hulk, yep. Ow! Thanks for the Doc Ock, bud. Victory. Gravelcade, I got your submission. I have 3 others ahead of you as a heads up, but we've got, we're gonna be streaming for a while today, so we should be able to get around to it for sure. Just everybody hanging out. Great to over 2,000 people in here for a weekend stream. So I could jump behind. We'll do hit streak. You were the Jeff's choice, yeah? Yeah. Ooh, perfection. Listen, we snapped turn 1 Nico draw in this house. Would you like to see ultimate variants do different than others? They should have some type of special animation or sound effect when they hit the board, or maybe both. Is Storm the best card that's never been balance changed? No, Nico Minaru is the best card that's ever been balance changed. Next question. Nation page isn't working. I think that's true. Just had one come through. Ooh, I'm getting... Nope, it went through. You gotta give it a second. It was a white screen for half a second. Then it came up. Am I gonna have room to fit this in on curve, or do I want to just play it into nowhere? I'll be able to play around curve next turn, potentially. So we'll go Brood plus her. Sting! Oh, they are Phoenix Wars. Interesting. Okay, they have priority. So if they're gonna Phoenix Force here, it's gotta be here. So if we Shadow King, we'll clear the bonus off of it. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals. We got him. All right. Can I win the game? They're usually not a Heimdall deck, right? So this gives me 18 here. But I could also do this and have 20 on the left. Heimdall would put them to 14 and then 20. And the multiple men jump around. How much do they end up with in the middle if they Heimdall? They'd have 6, 12, 17, or 19? It's close. They might be a Heimdall gamer. They're not a Heimdall gamer. Cool. I think that's good for us then. I will say, one thing I really like about this list is pulling the curve down in this deck feels real good. 7 things that cost 2 or less is stellar. This is the play, right? Because if they're destroying this, it makes it so their Phoenix Force is a coin flip. It also means that they Hulkbuster. Yeah, buddy! Get to mess them up in 2 different ways. Well, that was gas. I'm not gonna be able to Mystique. Just is what it is. It's fine. We're gonna roll location change on Nico. Better. Good chance we lose here, I think. Yeah, they're more of a move-centric deck that looks like it has Phoenix Force as a secondary plan. So they probably have a Heimdall. Would be my guess.
I see.
So it's the tried and true Heimdall lose the game? Looks like it. Hey, the truest Marvel Snap classic you've ever heard. Heimdall to lose the game. I think that's our first Infinite ticket of the season, gamers. We haven't started playing Gold yet, really. Feels good to hit it with a classic, a new take on a classic. And because I like to encourage people to submit good decks on occasion, we're gonna let this deck have a little bit longer than the minimum. I wanna play some more of it. Hello! Sokovia discarded Infinite, Black Knight Avatar. Wonder what they could be playing, chat. So, while Iceman obviously can't hit Hela proper, he actually tends to be pretty okay in this matchup because they have so few lower cost cards that hitting like a Lady Sif, for example, can easily put them a whole turn behind.
Oh, snap.
This matchup's not great for us. Second Dinner's IGN slot is in about 3.5 hours. Black Knight Jeff. The Jeff is interesting because it could imply that they're not necessarily on the Hela plan. Some of these Black Knight decks play like lower to the ground, but still play Infinite for Blade and Ghost Rider, obviously. Yeah, more Ghost Rider. Black Knight, as the Jeff would imply. Runtime, thank you for the 53 months. Welcome back. All right, so we're hoping to draw Brood and Mr. Sinister here as our last two draws. For my next trick,
all systems go.
this Twitch stream is pre-recorded in front of a live audience. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me here today. Please cue the laugh track, studio. Gaming. Things that is not Hela. I assume one is Ghost Rider, and we'll lose that lane. The center lane. Oh, it wasn't guaranteed to bring back Infinite. I forgot they've been Scar as well. Little bit of an ambitious stay without the guaranteed Infinite. If you're someone who's looking for a Black Knight deck, and you haven't played a non-Hela Black Knight deck in a little while, and you missed those, You should check out my best decks roundup. One of my Jeff's picks this week is a non-Hella Black Knight deck that I think is quite reasonable. Do you have any videos from somebody who's been a lapsed player like myself who's considering getting back into Snap? I would say the number one thing to keep in mind when you're coming back to Snap is just be conscious of the upcoming Spotlight caches, so you can kind of plan for which cards you want to pick up when. Because leveraging the Spotlight caches in a way where you get the most cards out of your individual keys is the best catch-up mechanic for acquiring lots of stuff. Well, this is definitely better for them than us. I'm gonna get rid of it.
Wind, aid my hand.
Think I can snap here. I'm gonna limp for one if they let me limp, I think. Oh, I forgot Jeff could move. Oh, come on. That sucks. Damn. The Ranger White Widow. Such a rip. Their blink had been a little bit worse, or if they hadn't redrawn the Widow. We cleaned that one out there, actually. This build does, that's what I hadn't thought about. This build does give up Nightcrawler, which is obviously correct. You want more one drops that you can bounce with Beast, but it does make your storm paths a little bit less flexible, is noteworthy. If this is a neutral location, I might storm the Bifrost here. Neutral enough.
Wind,
Yeah, there are these there, obviously. I miss Storm into Jessica Jones these days. Yeah, Marvel Snap's definitely in a very different place than last time that was a playable thing. I thought Snap was originally on the schedule for 2 o'clock PT. I wonder if it got pushed, giggity. Or maybe it was just a early one. Alright, Cerebro? This never wins the game, unfortunately. Right? It'll be +6 here. This ties the center, yeah? Right? So I'll get two more blue marbles. They have a free scar. They do have a free scar. And this would only be... These would only be 6. So that'd be 6, 18, 21 at the absolute best. It doesn't win center. I add 6 to these, and then she's 3.
Escaped.
I mean, Blade's power is unchangeable explicitly because of Shadow King. I wanted more counterplay for that card. Streak, thank you for the tier 2 and for the 6 months in advance. I plan to be here. Thanks for the 11 months we've had already. Heh.
Snap.
Let's see if they already have thing to discard with and big thing. I might leave if they snap me back. But their deck I think is a little bit more synergy based than ours. Also, I have like Widow into Beast by Widow for the left, which is appealing. I hate locations that put cards in my hand so much, chat. I hate them. I hate them so much. Benjamin. Technically still C2. Yeah, I don't have a Cerebro in my hand, yeah. I think they play here every time knowing I picked the Widow up, so I'm gonna put the Widow somewhere else. You know, how am I supposed to Mystique the Mr. Sinister? Or the Mr. Fantastic? So let her be a 3-4. Think I'm staying? Yeah.
Victory.
Our hand's not good, but there's a good chance theirs is worse. Gosh, chat, it's crazy how interesting Marvel Snap could be when you get to play to every location on the last turn of the game. Funny how that works. We have priority here thanks to White Widows, so Cosmo's not really a concern. And then if they lose this, which feels likely, they're gonna get locked in by this rock. Unlucky. Beast would actually be a good draw next turn, so it would allow me to get Nico into the Crimson Cosmos. Beast followed by Blue Marvel are my draws 1 and 2 next turn. I believe we have died. It's a shame, too. Our hand would be really good on a board that didn't have Crimson Cosmos on it.
Escape.
Might have even been able to compete with Infinite in a less brutal location variance game. I really dislike Crimson Cosmos' location. It's my #1 most hated location in the game because I enjoy playing sweet decks that play out multiple cards per turn. There's the antithesis of those.
Oh, snap.
A snap on the Storm draw that lets us mitigate location variance. I'm also going to pass this turn so I can copy Cerebro to my hand with Nico Minaru. I want to call out good emote behavior because I'll be the first to bitch about what I feel is bad emote behavior. A fist bump in a spot like this, I think, is one that I can basically always interpret as good sportsmanship. We've had a lot of back and forth. One of us just snapped and the game is early and one of the players is all in. It's like, hey, this was a good match. A lot of really bad faith people like to pretend that all context around stuff like that is always equal, and it's really just not the case. Not all fist bumps are equal. They just aren't. If I do this, I cut myself off of a draw. Which I don't think I want to do. Ah, their Jubilee Beats are forward to the board. +2? That's not bad either. I think it's this. Go. I think it's this. Yeah, Jeff can move. Jeff can move, and we know they have a 20 power blade. But I think all their cheap cards are used, yeah? White Widow's on the board, Blade's on the board, Jeff's on the board. So I don't think they can make 2 plays, right? So long as I beat Jeff at all 3, I think they can only play 1 card here with that series of emotes. Well, they do have a second card. Okay. Oh, do they have 2 3 energy cards? Oh, they have a rock. Okay. That makes sense.
Victory.
Yeah, I think we just needed to beat the Jeff at all 3 paths, then we could lose the blade path and win the other 2. But obviously with the Brood, it works out that we beat the blade here. I really like this Cerebro build, chat. This is the idea. Korg, like, I've always talked about how this archetype has an awful Hela/discard matchup, and Iceman and Korg are like cards that like actively work to solve those problems by making your opponent's deck less consistent. All right, it's time to run some ads. I want to run upstairs and grab my lunch out of the fridge, but we're definitely gonna finish this Golden Conquest with this deck before we move to our next viewer deck. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere. I like surprise ads hitting to let you know you're sub right out. Thanks for upping that for the 7th month, Chocolate Rain. Welcome back. Happy Saturday. Appreciate folks spending some weekend time here at Oaklandia doing your staff drops with us. Happy Pride Month.
Breaking news.
Oh, it's Chase. Are probably one of the only ones in the game with their golden Namora already. Mr. Damien, thanks for supporting my stuff with your Prime this month. There's a ton of great content creators you can send that to. Thanks for sending it my way, keeping me around.
Opponent snapped.
Been watching your YouTube content recently. Which platform would be better for you if you wanted to support? Definitely Twitch. If it's all the same to you, Twitch subs are the best.
Opponent snapped.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna stay. Ever a good idea to use tokens on a card like Thena, or you should always use keys? It depends on what your collection situation looks like. I could make Nico free. Yeah, I mean, I could, but she'll be 4 power, and that's not particularly useful to me, yeah? Oh, I guess I can Shadow King her. Oh, Beast does stop the 2x. Yeah, he totally does. You're right. Good show. So, in the past, Cerebro 2 has traditionally had a good lockdown matchup. I am unsure if that is currently true of the metagame in which we exist at the moment. Wow, our hand's insane, yeah? Do I snap here? I think I snap here. I don't know what I'm playing where, but I'm pretty sure I'm snapping. I think it's this, into this, into this, into... Do I want her to go, actually? I kind of don't want to move anything into here, yeah? We do this, and we play for here and here. This is my play. Twilight Storm, thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Jeff, I've been watching for a while, but just recently started subbing. Definitely one of the better, less fluff snap content creators I've come across. Thanks. Hail to the king, baby. Alright, so we're hoping to draw a Korg here. So I could go Blue Marvel Korg. Rogue has entered the Golden Girls. Why isn't White Widow just better here? Because I can't play White Widow because she costs 2? Is there a good Pixie deck right now that hasn't showed up in your best decks roundups for weeks? So, something that is true of my best decks roundups, and the best decks roundups you're going to find everywhere on the internet, is that best decks roundups in games like in Marvel Snap, I say game, in Marvel Snap specifically, has what I would refer to as a recency bias. People want to play with shiny new cards. And there are lots of decks in Marvel Snap, and Pixie is among these, where you can play them, and they're reasonable, and they're solid, and maybe even good, and you could win plenty with them, but they're not going to show up in best decks roundups, because a lot of my best decks roundups are data-driven and need play rate and sample size. And when a deck is no longer the shiny new thing, people stop playing with it, even when it's still good. fun fact, as someone who makes a point to try and highlight a range of things, when I explicitly make a point to highlight decks that are all older cards, the videos consistently perform worse, because people don't want to watch decks with cards even if they're still good, if they were all cards from 6 months ago. I think I'm leaving here. My hand's only okay. Sinister London, I think, is better for them than us. We'll bounce for one here. I think there's reason to spew more.
Escaped.
You want my thoughts on tier lists? Check out my Series 4 or 5 tier list here, where I talk through what makes good purchases in my opinion and why.
Opponent snapped. Oh, snap.
Yeah, I'll make this the game.
Wind, aid my hand.
Okay, that could have ended very poorly for me, and it did not. So thank you. I'm still taking deck submissions. I probably have room for more deck submissions today. However, I already have 1, 2, 3, 4 queued up right now. So if you send in a tip, we're not going to get to it for a little bit. Just for the sake of transparency. And then thanks to Utopia here, I get to clear this off with this and still do this, which just seems insane. Yep. Rogue's a good tech card. Rogue got Blue Marvel, breaks our Cerebro bonus. He's a 3-power thing. Oof. Alright, we're not playing 2 cubes to 5, so we're snapping on 1 here.
Snap.
Nocturne, unfortunate. I assume they're getting rid of London here. Oh, they're not. This will mean the throne room has to stay. But that might be fine. I think I'd rather have a bunch of blue marbles than anything. Yeah, they're getting rid of the London this turn anyways, so that works out. This puts me to 8 is 24, and then this is 2, so we're going to 26 over here. You want a Shadow King left for Sage? That's a good call. I don't need more points in the middle. This deck just generates such good games of Marvel Snap. All right, we got 2 shots to take their last one here. We were winning even without the Shadow King there, yeah? It was strictly correct to play the Shadow King, but we technically didn't need it. Naked Grave, thanks for the third of a year. Welcome back. There's decent for White Widow in this deck. Probably Scorpion. So it's another card that works well with Beast.
Wind, aid my hand.
The lockout win yesterday. So you had to change decks every round in the tournament yesterday. So the person who won the tournament, their decks that they played were Loki / Gilgamesh, or they were Loki / Gilgamesh, Lockout / Gilgamesh, Hela / Gilgamesh, and then Ultron Patriot that kind of wants to play Gilgamesh, I guess. I'm going to re-storm here so I can blue Marvel here next turn to Mystique blue Marvel the following turn.
Wind, aid my hand.
So if they rogue us on the right, they're only 50-50 because they could take the Widow's Kiss. I think we're dead because Captain Marvel covers the Iceman without Cerebro. No, Shadow King just absolutely torches them, yeah? If the Captain moves, they lose the right.
Higher, further, faster, baby.
Set. If I don't have Nico, does Grandmaster make sense? I think this build with Beast specifically is bad enough without Nico that you shouldn't play it. Nico is a big upside with the Beast Edition to this deck. Nico in general is a big power level increase to Cerebro 2. And I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. If you're missing Nico Minaru, your next 6,000 tokens should just buy her. There is a reason why there is a Nico Minaru tier in my tier list video. She is a unique and powerful and sweet card. Prioritize getting her. Iceman hit Elsa 3 times in a row, so I went online to see if they had beef. Yeah, that's one of the things about Iceman, right? Like, you almost, on this side, we never know how good it is, right? Like, it's just impossible to know. And a lot of the times, it's going to be winning you games. After Nico, who's my next favorite card? Probably Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night or Havoc, I think. Maybe Kitty Pride? Kitty Pride's up there. Number 2 isn't super clear. We're just like solidly into top 5 territory at that point. Havoc, can you explain? Yes, I have a sickness, and the only cure is playing shit tier cards that scale into mediocre powers at expensive costs. Must be, it is contagious. There is a good chance if you watch this channel, you will be infected through the internet with the disease that I am talking about. I am super high on this list after playing 8 or 9 Conquest games with it. I like what this deck is doing a lot. I think Beast is a really quality innovation. I think Korg and Iceman work to solve the big combo matchup that can be hard for this archetype sometimes. And this deck is naturally good against Loki, which is sweet. No, I don't think I'd change out Nightcrawler. I don't think I'd make any changes to this list after playing games with it today. Oh no! Yikes. We can Shadow Kick him. Another one! While I've definitely missed Nightcrawler in some of my games, I also don't know that I have a good cut for him. I think the only card you could realistically cut for Nightcrawler in this list is like Mr. Sinister, and him putting lots of bodies into play tends to be pretty important.
Snap.
They probably don't beat 12 here, yeah? I think I spread out and play for all of it just in case. Do I? Do we do this, and then we just, like, Mystique Shadow King next turn? That's probably the line. I'm worried about a top deck Rogue. Outside of top deck Rogue, I think we should be good to go here. Alright, so they know we have Shadow King. Drop was a good draw. Alright, do we die to the top deck tech card, gamer? Red Guardian and Rogue get us here. Yeah, they needed Marvel plus Mystique, which is going to be a pretty specific combination. What do you think about Captain America Iron Man version of Cerebro 2? I'll tell you what I think about it, but before I give you my subjective opinion, I'll tell you that in hundreds of game sample sizes, thousands maybe at this point, that Captain America Cerebro 2 is absolutely awful by the numbers. I think Captain America does not actively solve any problems that this archetype has, and it creates new ones by limiting the lanes in which you can play cards like Blue Marvel or Goose if you're playing it. Facts! I missed your donation a little bit ago. What do you hope they announced today? I hope they announced a new game mode. They told us we're going to get a roadmap update at a minimum. I really hope they had a new game mode on the roadmap at the start of the year. I hope that's getting revealed at IGN. I assume at a minimum, they're going to show us the details on leagues that will actually release as well as clans. But new game mode is my number one hope for today's update for sure.
Wind, aid my hand.
What's the highest performing Cerebro 1, 2, 3? 1 is not a real Cerebro deck. Cerebro 2 and 3 generally trade off between the highest being the highest performing Cerebro decks. With Cerebro 2 typically being the best. You wouldn't have too much hope with these types of games. So when you say these types of games, can you reference all of the other card games that made $100 million plus in the first year that they were released and created a phenomenon / experience on the internet that we haven't seen since Hearthstone released 2 decades ago? When you say these types of games, what data sources are you talking about to classify these types of games? Or is it just your super subjective fucking feels? Because someone on Reddit or some other social media platform complained and you decided their complaining sounded reasonable. Is that what you mean by these types of games? Not card games, especially just free-to-play games, as someone who I would wager has spent more time and more money on free-to-play games than you and probably most of chat, I will tell you that comparing Second Dinner's product to any other free-to-play game is very, very silly. I'm gonna leave here. We're very far behind. No Cerebro in sight, no blue marble.
Escaped.
Second Dinner is a company that's run and created by actual all-experience industry video game veterans. They're not some Activision, Blizzard, or other large studios like that. I know that this game was wildly successful, but unironically, Second Dinner is truly an indie company. They just are an indie company made up of veterans in the industry, so they know what they're doing. The glazing on this one is crazy. Chat, I need someone under 30 to explain to me what that means. What on God's green earth does the glazing mean? Please help me. They're referring to praising something. Ah, yes. The classic, anytime you call out objective reality that someone doesn't want to hear, you must clearly be a shill. That's my favorite. I am one of Second Dinner's. It's stroking someone's ego in a sexual manner. Yeah, yes. Got it. That sounds like that's a Zoomer thing, right? Sounds like a Zoomer thing. The youth do be using their own slang sometimes, yep. Our hand's super clunky. It was really unfortunate to lose. Losing Beast to Sokovia was a bad beat. That really was going to fill our curve out nicely. There's this weird context in the internet or thing that happens where if you're not constantly negative about something, you have to only be praising it all the time. And it's like, I can appropriately call out the mediocre or awkward things that Second Dinner does, while also acknowledging the realities of the good things that they get done. Those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Was that guy banned? Yeah, of course we banned someone for a take that bad. If you're new to this channel, chat, it's not like the rest of the internet. You don't get to just be a dickhead here and have no repercussions for your actions. I think White Widow needs a nerf. I think adjusting any of the cards that go in the Professor X deck before they adjust Professor X himself would be an incredible mistake. Yeah, I'm gonna snap here on the Cerebro drop. One of the most true things you will hear anywhere, chat, is that the person that you are when you are hiding behind your random screen name and your anime avatar on the internet is who you truly are as a human being. The mask that you put on and who you pretend to be elsewhere, that's not really who you are. That's just who you think society requires you to be. So you act like a good little person because you know they'll ostracize you if you act otherwise appropriately. This is just kind of a coin flip, but I think it's one that's favorable for us. We're gonna add, what? We're gonna go to 22 over here, and they're at a virtual 7 only. I'm gonna leave Nico here just in case they move out of here, but definitely a bit of a flip. It's the classic who you are when nobody's watching is who you actually are. Who you are when you think there's no repercussions for your actions. On the internet, people can be watching you and not have repercussions. Oh, I forgot they can move the Widow's Bite out. We might still be okay here. A lot of points on the left. I guess I was counting the Widow's Bite as 0 anyways, so probably fine. Die to like a random tech card. Oh, just a little itty bitty baby dino.
Victory.
Question, Jeff, if you had any sort of conversations about the internet during your upbringing of the kid, keep thinking about that when the time comes. Well, my kids aren't allowed to use YouTube, and they're not on any form of social media, and their voice communication in Fortnite, which is the only online video game they play, is restricted to just people on their friends list, which I have to approve. My children are only 9 and 10. That is not an age that is remotely old enough to handle random strangers online the way people are online. I would like to think my children will be in a much better position than I was coming up because they'll have someone who has experience navigating social media and online voice chats that I didn't have because they were kind of new and my parents had no idea what the fuck was going on because they didn't exist. But look how good you turned out. I turned out okay, but I would like my children to turn out better. I would like them to have advantages I didn't have. I would like to improve things for the next generation. Man, I want to get rid of this. That sounded a little controlling, but it makes perfect sense. Chat, if you've not spent a lot of time with 8 and 9-year-olds, they only need a little bit of freedom. They can get themselves into plenty of trouble. Control is what 8 and 9-year-olds need. Yes, exactly that. got him. Jeff, as a father myself, would you rather your kids have a better life than you had or end up as better people than you if you had to choose? I think moral quandaries like that are a giant waste of my time to consider when both is definitely possible. Surprised Coulson didn't give them Enchantress. All right, well, we ate it match 1 to playing against, I think it was the Hella deck, but we then went on to run off just 2 straight Infinite Conquest wins in a row. So, 1, Cerebro 2's always been pretty reasonable, but 2, I think I'm a beast in Cerebro 2 believer, chat. I think I'm sold. I think if you were to say, Jeff, what's the flex slot here? I think Mr. Sinister is probably the card I would consider playing with for other things. I do not think you can play this build without Nico. Being able to rebuy Nico and these other 2 is a big part of what this card is doing. And I know this isn't what people want to hear, but I think White Widow is probably important for this build too. I think being able to rebuy that one and clutter 2 locations on their board helps you in spots where you wouldn't be able to overpower them with raw stats as well. In other Cerebro 2 builds without Beast, I would tell you White Widow is pretty replaceable, but I think when we're bouncing in and out, she becomes not optional pretty quickly. I like this a lot. This is one of my favorite archetypes. I think Cerebro 2 and Bounce are probably the 2 decks I've played the most in the last 2 years since Marvel Snap came out, and this is obviously blends 2 of my loves together, so I'm probably a little bit biased in my assessment, but it just plays really good, interesting, quality games of Snap. Yeah, maybe if you were looking to fit Goose back into this shell, the Mr. Sinister slot is probably there. I don't know that I would play Nightcrawler. One of the risks of Nightcrawler in this build is that I found when you play more than 3 1-energy cards in this deck, your Destroy/Killmonger matchup is just awful. So, like, obviously you could just say you want to punt that, but I think if I were to test something else here, Goose is a card I'm a big fan of in this deck, and that could be okay in this slot. The controlling aspect of Goose is quite